All right. Hello, Dr. Leon and the rest of the class. My name is Jonathan King.
My name is Daniel Rubin.
I'm Kimberly Lopez.
Okay, and today we'll be going over the Stanford History Education Group. I just wanted to give you a brief kind of look and framework of the website and how it looks like. Here, if you see on the left-hand side, we have a bunch of resources for history lessons, history assessments, and then our civic online reasoning assessments. This is a great resource to use. Here at the bottom, you can see that they offer posters that you guys can print out that you can put up in your classroom. They also offer some very, very interesting and informing lesson plans that you can automatically incorporate into your classrooms as soon as you start teaching. Today we're going to kind of go into detail over this website. So first, kind of some information on that. So Reading Like a Historian, the Reading Like a Historian curriculum engages students in historical inquiry. Each lesson revolves around a central historical question and features of a set of primary documents designed for groups of students with a range of reading skills. The curriculum teaches students how to, 1, investigate historical questions by employing reading strategies such as sourcing, contextualizing, corroborating, and close reading. And as well as, instead of memorizing historical facts, students evaluate the trustworthiness of multiple perspectives on historical issues and learn to make historical claims backed by documentary evidence. I think this is really critical when asking students to know and how to back up their claims with evidence. I think it's a critical component for students to learn. Moving on.
So my name is Daniel Rubin once again, and we're looking at SHEG. And as we were talking about the curriculum, we talked about context, and I like to use a term called contextual intelligence. This refers to the where, the why, the when, the who, the how, and how to compare and contrast. The devil is in the details. This website offers you a source and a way to construct poster projects. We know now more than ever with the evolving demographic in our schools that we are a much more collaborative learning environment than we've been before, and this allows students sources for unique and informative learning experiences. All right, next slide.
So why use SHEG for teaching history and social sciences? It's time to have our students think like historians. And I really like this quote from the website. It says, it provides teachers with high quality resources to enrich students' intellectual experience in the history classroom. So the resources, like mentioned previously by my partner, are Reading Like a Historian. So they provide inquiry-based lesson plans with primary source documents. Beyond the Bubble, with the use of assessments that measure not only the memorization, but just like the way students do historical thinking. And very importantly, civic online reasoning, so the assessments to evaluate that. So our goal as educators now is just not to just deliver historical facts, but also develop literacy across content areas. And so for the Thinking or Reading Like a Historian, they provide an example of a lesson plan, the Sepoy Rebellion. And so they give a really nice delivery of content that is also differentiated so that you have different resources for different learners. We have Beyond the Bubble, which, as mentioned, teaches all these skills to students, and it makes them analyze images and written text to evaluate the evidence for historical questions and provide their own arguments. And civic online reasoning, I think, is one of the major things that I found that is very important for students now, because they're faced with so much information due to all their access to online journals and articles, and so they have to have the ability to judge the credibility of this digital information so that can help them make their own political arguments and their own historical backups.
So this is putting a visual into context of the classroom, and the direction is to journal and assess, on our part, of course, the assessment. What are we looking at? By asking the class, if they recognize this image, as an exit slip, which is something that you find very common in middle schools, you can ask them to analyze the picture and see if they see what this is, what the significance of the flag is, the Reichstag hammer, and how this may have affected government in the future. Can you think of any details to give this picture more context? So this is a question that you would pose to the class, and at the last 5 minutes, for example, you can have them write in a journal or on a piece of paper some thoughts on this image, and it can be used as an exit slip to leave the class. This allows you to hold them accountable for their work during the class and at the end. Yes, the necessary evil, evaluating validity of claims in the social media era. This would be under the Civic Online Reasoning tab. And this is an example of a tweet found on the SHEG website. A majority of Americans own guns. This was a claim by a fellow, how do you say, Twitter? A twit. But the source was CBS article. You would click the link in Twitter. Did you read it? Were you misled in any way? Like we all know, Twitter is an inflammatory environment where people just make claims, and it's up to us, the reader, if we want to learn more, to learn more in detail about what the article actually says. And on the right, you're actually finding you're looking at a rubric that would rate the accuracy of the claim. And mastery, for example, a student argues that Mason's claim is not accurate and fully explains that the survey collected data on gun-owning Americans alone, and therefore does not demonstrate that most Americans own guns. So that would be a mastery in this specific assignment, but it allows students to use reasoning and not just memorization. In a vacuum, we all grew up on this phrase. What is it for something to happen in a vacuum? This picture to us tells a really horrible story, and the question posed is used to assess students' knowledge of not only the event but the climate that led to this visual, teaching students to think in context and identify cause and effect relationships. And how about today? Does this continue to go on somewhere else in the world? Another opportunity for students to reflect using a visual, and a resource for us on the SHEG website.
And that
And
concludes
that is it.
our presentation on SHEG and the amazing resource it is.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great week.